Okay, so we've generated over $1.3 million in YouTube ad revenue from just one channel. We run 12 active YouTube channels right now, plus about 10 to 15 language channels, which are third-party channels that we own, that are run by third-party companies who essentially take our videos and our channels, turn them into language channels, and then re-upload the videos and manage the channel. So right now we're generating anywhere between $30,000 and $70,000 in YouTube ad revenue every single month across the board, across all of our YouTube channels. We haven't just done this once. The channel that I'm going to be showing you here, the same applies to all of the channels that we run. Now, this channel has generated $1.3 million in YouTube ad revenue, but has generated a lot more than that actually, because between 2015 and 2018, we signed up with an MCN, which is a multi-channel network, which essentially means that all of our revenue data went through them. They took a percentage of our revenue and then sent the money back to us. So all of that revenue data is lost on the YouTube studio. This channel has generated closer to $2 million in YouTube ad revenue because those few years were one of our biggest few years, sorry. Now, this channel, like I said, has generated probably close to $2 million in direct YouTube ad revenue. That is not including sponsorships, brands, memberships, merchandise, all those other things that are tagged onto a YouTube channel if it's being ran correctly. This channel has probably generated $3 to $5 million just from this one YouTube channel. Now, it follows the same platform and the same format as all good YouTube channels. This isn't some secret mastermind thing that we have going on. This is how all good YouTube channels are run, and that makes things a lot easier for you. There's lots of videos out there, everyone talking about different things, but if you just stick to the basics, that is what works. The basics always work the best. Now, I've broken this down into 5 different sections. This video is not going to be too long. I'm not asking you to sit through an hour-long tutorial of how to create a YouTube channel. I'm going to blast through these 5 main points of how we've generated this much money with this particular channel and with all of the channels that we run. Essentially, this is going to be a quick how-to guide of how to run a very successful YouTube channel. These things applied to us when we started over 11 years ago, and it still applies today. And there are a lot of people out there who don't even run YouTube channels, yet they still try and teach people how to run YouTube channels. And there are people out there who had a YouTube channel many years ago that did well, that no longer does well, and now they are kind of scrambling around trying to find a way to bring more money in, and they decide to start teaching people YouTube. Now, both of those things are fine. Everyone is entitled to do whatever the hell they want to do online, and some of those people actually have some really, really good lessons to be learned. But we are constantly creating YouTube channels for ourselves because it keeps us, not only does it keep us sharp when it comes to teaching, but it also increases our business worth and it increases our revenue. The moment we stop running YouTube channels for ourselves, and I've said this many times, we will disappear from the teaching space. I'm not going to teach people how to do YouTube if I am no longer running a YouTube channel outside of the YouTube channel, this YouTube channel which is teaching people how to do YouTube. This will never be our only YouTube channel. The moment we stop growing our YouTube channels and adding new YouTube channels and learning new things, will disappear. So let's get into the 5 main core principles of running a successful YouTube channel. So let's start with your niche. Now, we always advise people, the way that you come up with a YouTube niche is you need to center it around something that you yourself find interesting, or it needs to be centered around a hobby or your occupation. Now, I talk way more about this over on our free school community, where we have a YouTube blueprint course which essentially runs through what I'm talking about here, but on a much more detailed level. So I don't want to go into too much detail here, but if you are scraping around for a YouTube niche and what channel to create, personally, I don't think you're ready to start a YouTube channel. YouTube channel creation is usually just a light bulb moment or a spur of the moment kind of thing when you're already kind of making videos on the side, or you already kind of have an interest in it and you just think, I'm going to start doing this and uploading this to YouTube. I already enjoy this making videos. I already enjoy this particular topic. I'm going to start uploading it to YouTube. What we have seen, and believe me when I say this because we've seen this a lot, the people who just get on YouTube to make money and use AI to come up with a video kind of topic, a video niche, the channel concept, they never ever last. Yeah, maybe 1 out of 100 kind of do, but it's just so rare. You watching this right now, it's very unlikely you're going to be the next big YouTuber by going on AI or using a channel niche spreadsheet that some people sell. It's just not going to work. The way that you create a good, long-standing, consistent YouTube channel that aligns with you as a person and that you are going to enjoy creating for many years to come is to center it around something that you yourself find interesting. That's why we say interest, occupation, or hobby, because generally those three things, obviously interest is something you're interested in anyway, but your hobby or your occupation generally are things that you find interesting. Now, if you hate your job, you're probably not going to be able to record videos of you doing your job, because if you hate it, then there's just no passion there's no drive, there's no ambition to come up with content on a regular basis. And that's one of the reasons why we don't advocate using AI or using these channel idea spreadsheets, because if I give you a channel concept right now that is going to work in 2025, and if I know it's going to work, which I could, how are you going to go and create videos centered around that if you have no interest in that particular topic? It's like saying go create a car washing business because you can make a ton of money doing that, or go become this because you can make a ton of money doing that. You're not going to enjoy it, so you're not going to be able to make a ton of money doing it because you have no desire to do it for the long haul. And it's channels that are around for the long haul that make the type of revenue that we make. So the way to come up with your niche, and I'm going to do a separate video, a bit more of an in-depth video of how we come up with our channels, and that's going to be a really fun video. It's basically going to be me going through YouTube, speed running through different channels and just creating a channel concept that not only aligns with us, but that has the potential to work, because you kind of need those two things to work in order for the channel to become successful. There are a lot of channels out there that are based around people's interest and occupation or hobby, but they have no desire to make it work. They're not really uploading on a regular basis. They're essentially just running it for fun, and that's completely fine. But if you're watching this, you probably want to actually generate revenue from your YouTube channel. That's why you need to come up with something that is interesting, but that can also work. And I talk more in depth about how to find out whether your YouTube channel works over on School. So if you want to check that out, click on the link down below, check out our free course, and you'll learn basically the process that we take when finding out whether or not a channel idea has the potential to work on YouTube. Essentially, if there are other channels in the space doing well, that's it. It's not rocket science, it can do well. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which is video planning. Like I said earlier, if your channel is based around something you have no interest in, it's going to be really hard to come up with videos. This particular channel, for example, this is our YouTube educational channel. It's something we enjoy doing. It's something that's very easy for us to do. We have, I'm not even joking, 2 years worth of content ideas already written out, ready to go. Now, obviously, this is going to change, and there are some videos in there that we eventually, when we come to doing them, we're going to be like, we don't want to do that anymore, and we're going to add new things on a regular basis. But you get the point. If you come up with a YouTube channel that you really enjoy, coming up with video ideas is really, really simple. Now, the hard part is making sure those videos actually have the potential to work. And again, like I said, with finding out whether the channel concept can work, you essentially just type in the video idea into YouTube. You see if it's getting views, you see if other creators within your space are doing similar videos and getting good views, and if they are, that's confirmation your videos can work. Now, moving on to the production side of things, which is another obviously very, very core aspect of it. The production can be as little or as big as you want it to be. You can create super high production videos, or you can create super simple vlog style stuff. It all depends on what your channel is and what you are as a person. If you have no desire to do vlogs and you're leaning more towards the high production stuff, don't listen to anyone telling you that that doesn't work and you need to go back to vlogs. Anything and everything works on YouTube. Vlogs, high production, low production, super big budget, zero budget, it all works. Even just terrible quality phone camera stuff can still work on YouTube if you get other things right. So don't listen to anyone who says you need to fit your videos into a certain criteria, because it's just not true. Those people have no idea what they're talking about. Now, again, we talk more about this over on School in our more in-depth course, but video production is broken down into 3 different categories. You have your script, you have your narration or your presentation, and you have your video editing. Now, it's unlikely that you're going to enjoy all 3 of those things. Some people really enjoy video editing, but they hate being on camera. Some people love writing scripts and researching different things, but they don't enjoy video editing. Unfortunately, when you start out on YouTube, unless you already have a budget to hire people, which is not necessarily a bad thing either, that's a great way to start out on YouTube if you have a bit of a budget, you're going to have to just do it yourself. Now, we were doing everything ourselves on our very first channel for a couple of years before we started building up a big team. And we needed that team in order to grow to the scale that we have grown to. But you don't need to when you start out, unless you have the money. You can do the editing, you can do the narration or the presentation or the vlogs or whatever it may be. You can do it all yourself. Early on, I wouldn't go worrying about learning how to edit, learning how to do all these things. Just do it. A lot of people are looking for someone to just give them something and someone to tell them something they don't know, because they think that's like the missing piece of their puzzle. The missing piece of their puzzle and the missing piece of your puzzle isn't the things you don't know, it's the things you do know that you're just not acting on. Most people in this day and age know how to do basic writing, research, narration, presentation, and video editing. It can be learned very, very simply, and it doesn't need to be anything extensive. Yes, it's going to take you longer, but that's just the way it goes. You know, when you start out with any business, you have to do everything yourself, for the most part. It's exactly the same with YouTube. So if you're you don't know how to edit, learn very basic editing, or if you don't know how to edit, just do the most basic editing possible, or just get really good at whatever you're doing so the editing doesn't have to be the main focus point of the videos. Vlogs, for example, don't require as much editing as something like a faceless kind of documentary or a big presentation documentary. So use that, what you enjoy, and tailor that to your niche. If you hate video editing, maybe running a kind of documentary faceless thing where that's going to require a lot of editing isn't the kind of thing you want to be going down. Maybe you enjoy being on camera. If you love being the center of attention and being on camera, that's the kind of angle you might want to take your channel. So look up the things that you enjoy doing and use that to mix into the pot of coming up with your channel. Now, the fourth core principle of running a successful YouTube channel is essentially the packaging, the thumbnail and the title. I'm not going to talk about the description or any of that stuff because none of that really matters, let's be real. And people ask, why doesn't that matter? Go to some of the biggest videos right now that are trending, that have millions and millions of views, look at the description of 10 of them, tell me if there's a pattern. There isn't. So when it comes to titles and thumbnails, essentially, you want to be keeping up with the competition. What we like to advise people to do is look at your competition and do very, very similar video titles and thumbnails to them within your niche. And obviously you can venture to different niches and bring what's working in other niches to your niche. That can work very well too. But usually when you're starting out, you're better off piggybacking off of other big creators within your space. I'm not asking you to copy the thumbnails or the titles, it's just you're using them as inspiration for your own videos. I could talk about this for hours, so I'm just going to keep it real simple. You kind of get the point. Look at what other people within your space are doing and tailor your titles and your thumbnails off of that. Do not copy and paste them. Copy them, paste them, and then tweak them and then upload them. Where a lot of people go wrong is they enter a space that is working really well, they go into a niche that's working well, and they do the complete opposite or something completely different to what everyone else within their space is doing. And from what we have seen, that's not a good way to grow a channel if you're starting out. Once you start to have a bit of a following, you can then start to push the needle and do different things and it can work. But if you're starting out, you need all the exposure you can get, and the way you get exposure is by piggybacking onto other creators within your space. So keep it very simple, because then you're going to increase your chances of people clicking on your videos from one of the big creators if your video looks similar to theirs, because they're going to be like, well, I like this person, I like this video, that one looks kind of similar, I'm going to click on that one. And the last principle, and in all seriousness, the most important one, if you knock out any of those other four core principles, you can probably get away with certain things. If you take this one away, you do not have a YouTube channel, and that is consistency. Consistency is the number one reason most YouTube channels never take off. It's not because you're not very good on camera or because your videos suck. It's not because your titles and your thumbnails aren't good enough. It's not because your channel concept doesn't work. It could be, but it probably isn't. It's just because you've not given it enough time. We see this all the time. People send us their channels for review and they say, why is it not working? And they haven't uploaded for 6 months. Why would it work if you're not giving it the time? Seriously, YouTube takes a long time generally to grow. Yes, you will get channels that just blow up in a couple of months or even just with a handful of videos, but it's very unlikely to happen, and it's very unlikely to happen to you. If it does happen, it's just a bonus. But if you go into a new channel with the same mindset that we do, which is, let's give this 6 to 12 months to see if it works, and if it doesn't, we'll tweak things. Go in with that mindset and you have nothing to lose. If you just say to yourself, I'm going to dedicate a whole year to uploading one video per week, which is generally the gold standard for uploading, and is all you need to grow a successful YouTube channel. If you just upload one video per week for an entire year, A, what an amazing accomplishment that you've dedicated yourself to, and B, if the channel's going to work, it's probably, based on our experience, it's probably going to work within the first year. Now again, this doesn't always happen. We've had channels that have taken 2 years or so to grow, and some that have even taken longer than that. So it's not a definite, okay, this is the year mark, it hasn't worked, so I'm just going to give up. You'll know within the first year if it's going to work or not, generally, because you'll be getting steady growth. You'll be getting good comments, and I talked about this in a previous video. You might be getting comments, people basically saying this channel's going to blow up and all those kinds of things. If you're getting that within the first year of your channel creation, you know that it can probably work, so just keep going. The number one reason YouTube channels do not work is because they are just not consistent. Increasing your output on YouTube doesn't necessarily increase your chances of your channel growing, it just increases your chances of burning out and just giving up. So keep it to one video per week. You can do a handful of shorts if you want to, and if it aligns with you and it aligns with your channel goals, but ideally, one video per week is all you need to grow your YouTube channel. So take it from me, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I will continue to be doing this for a very, very long time, unless YouTube disappears. You nail those things. You get your niche locked in and center it around something that you yourself find interesting. You plan good videos and you upload videos that you yourself would enjoy watching and that you're very excited to create content around. You get decent at video editing and you just enjoy the process, or narration or presentation and researching and writing, and hopefully your channel will get to a point where you can outsource the things that you don't enjoy doing, but I can talk about that again in another video. Get your thumbnails and your titles in line with your competition, but better or just the same, and stay consistent. Your YouTube channel has all of the ingredients to grow. You don't need any extra fancy things. You don't need, to buy courses. You don't need to spend hours watching videos. That is all you need to do. You just need to start. You just need to dedicate a year of your life to YouTube. Just like if you dedicate a year of your life to anything in life, you're going to be way further ahead than if you didn't. Dedicate a year of your life to YouTube and see what happens. If you want a free YouTube channel review, drop a link to your channel below, and I'll give you a heart if I think your channel's heading in the right direction and doesn't need any feedback. And if we think that your channel could do with some pointers, then we will give you some feedback below. Thanks for watching, keep creating, and we'll see you in the next video.